Okay, so let's get right into this. This is actually a big thing that's going on. As you know, there are competing interests with Social Security benefits, but the main thing that we're starting to see is that the Democrats are starting to get sharper and sharper teeth when it comes to attacking the Republicans when it comes to how the Social Security Administration is doing. Now, we know that Commissioner Dudek is a bit being used like a pawn figure from a chess game to be moved from here to here to here to here to here, so that essentially Donald Trump / Elon Musk's agenda of significantly cutting costs can be completed. Now, a lot of people are worried about things like having to go and prove themselves before the Social Security Administration and, all these cost-cutting measures. But a couple of things. First and foremost, please don't have massive fear. Okay, I want to explain the basics with this thing so you understand it. I don't want you guys to be afraid. There are some things that are worrisome, but I don't want you to be afraid. Okay, for example, like that whole thing about how you having to prove yourself that you should be receiving the benefits that you are by having to go to a field office. That's just for people who are newly winning benefits, and for those basically who want to change something that usually has an extremely high likelihood of fraud and or similar fault related to it, like changing where your checks are being sent. Okay, so for example, where the SSA is realistically going with that whole thing is they're going to go ahead and set it up for the most frauded situations. They'll make people go in to a field office, or they'll make them use the online system, or they'll go ahead and have people use what the VA side is doing, which is essentially using a login authorization program. It's an authenticating program that you have on your phone that links back to where you actually interview with somebody to go ahead and get access to it. So you guys in the future, when the SSA catches up with that, will actually have authorization through one of these programs by interviewing, and then you'll get an actual security clearance as a recipient of benefits. Not scary. You'll be able to do it from your phone. It's not the end of the world. Here's the thing. Martin O'Malley, okay? I really liked him. Some of you guys hate him, but I really liked him. Some of you guys absolutely do not like that I promoted the idea that he was a very good commissioner because he essentially represented the Democrats. As you know, I'm an independent. I will tell you the bad of the left. I will tell you the bad of the right. And I give you somewhat down the middle as to what's going on. But who the hell knows what the middle is? Now, keeping all that in mind, that's like saying the shade of green is that, nobody knows what the middle is. Okay. And it's constantly moving, not because the left is constantly going more and more and more left. So, it's like, where's the middle? Well, the middle has to average out a little bit more left every single day. Now, Commissioner Martin O'Malley just released today, Elon Musk and Donald Trump are getting Social Security. They are harming your benefits, lighting a fire, and running away. It's wrong and must be stopped. Now, why is he saying that? It's because there's been so many changes to the Social Security Administration. But the thing that really caught my actual interest was this one. Social Security close to total system collapse, X-Head says. Okay, let's go through this real quick. This was published on March 26, 2025, so today. This is basically by Alyssa Hingham, U.S. News reporter. Let's go through it. The former Social Security Commissioner Martin O'Malley has said the government department is on the brink of total system collapse under the Trump administration. Now, some of you see this as a refreshing thing, mass audit, etc. I see it as the right thing done the wrong way. That's how I would describe it. If you wanted to do this the right way, you would go ahead, bring in Frank Bisignano, bring in all the new computer operating systems, integrate them with the current staff levels you have, and then from there, do a full analytics on who's working, who's not working really hard, who's doing a good job, who's not doing a good job, and then fire people from there if you want to get rid of people on an agency that's already struggling to not have enough to properly run itself. Why it matters. Social Security Administration currently pays out retirement, survivor, and disability benefits to more than 70 million Americans, but recent changes made by the Department of Government Efficiency and its current commissioner have come under considerable scrutiny. What to know? Writing on X, formerly Twitter, O'Malley said, the Musk-Trump co-presidency has already taken down 90% of the actions necessary to drive Social Security into a total system collapse. It follows the publication of Washington Post article regarding the breaking down of the federal agency, which includes reports that customer service phone lines are failing. They kind of are. Let's just be realistic about it. In-person appointments are scarce. It's because they're requiring basically these setups for you to be able to even go to these offices, and they're terminating a bunch of offices or terminating, smaller sections of those offices. And online claims for benefits are piling up. Yeah, the major thing is the disability field with the backlog. It's getting scary. It's no secret that the SSA has come under DOGE's hammer in recent weeks, much to the alarm of lawmakers, advocate groups, and former officials. In recent months, the agency has begun laying off 7,000 employees, closing field offices, and mandating in-person identity checks as a result of ongoing cost savings and fraud mitigation. Former Social Security Commissioner Martin O'Malley testifies before the Senate Committee on the Budget, and what he basically had to say was that things are not good. Things are going very, very wrong. All this has happened under the helm of Leland Dudek, a former data analyst at the agency, was promoted. Bisignano, which is about to become the next commissioner, and it's going to be a full commissioner, not just an acting commissioner, but a full-level commissioner. So essentially, just to clarify, the last full-level, the Senate, gave him a kiss on the shoulder, blessing, was Commissioner Martin O'Malley. The next full-level, they gave him a little shuffle, pat on the back, so there you go, boy, get in there, fix that Social Security. That's going to be Frank Bisignano. Bisignano had his first Senate confirmation hearing on Tuesday, March 25th, during which he vowed to crack down on fraud to protect Americans' personal data and dismiss suggestions that he supports privatizing the Social Security Administration. I watched the whole thing, and to be fair, it was kind of boring. I don't know. He doesn't have a lot of zim and zang, and wow, I got to hold this up because the camera's so heavy. I've got this camera. It's this just so you know, here it is. Razer 4K Ultra HD. And I was like, I'm going to try it. It's going to be amazing. I got to be honest with you. This thing has way too much autofocus going on. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if I put my finger right here, it might look here. Can I find it? Let me see if we can get it. Hold on. No, I can't get it. All right. It won't autofocus the moment I need it to autofocus. Anyways, the point is, I guess what I'm getting at with this whole situation, keep in mind, I'm using tech that I don't normally use. The thing I'm getting at is the Social Security Administration has obviously, Trump will say, hasn't been changed. It's obviously been massively changed. It is more than a facelift. This is full surgery at this point, okay? So bottom line is, I watched Frank Bisignano do his thing. Finance Committee, Bisignano said he planned to be an accountable leader at the SSA, committed to making Social Security a premier service for beneficiaries. His goals include reducing phone waiting times, shortening processing times for disability claims, and lowering error rates. To be fair, every commissioner that's had to come in has had to basically say the exact same thing over and over and over again. In his post, O'Malley said that Bisignano would be aware of the reported issues at the SSA. Quote, one must assume their nominee approved all of it, or he wouldn't be going for confirmation, O'Malley wrote. And put another way, what they're basically saying is Frank Bisignano was totally aware of essentially all the changes that Leland Dudek, the current commissioner, was being placed in the position to do. However, Frank Bisignano said, I don't talk to him. He's not part of my circle. All right. They're saying Acting Commissioner Leland Dudek said in an interview on Monday, I do not want to destroy the agency. The president wants it to succeed by cutting out the red tape to improve service while improving security. Nancy Altman, president of Social Security Works, in a statement sent to Newsweek, said Bisignano described himself as a DOGE person. Kind of not really. He said he didn't have any association. I don't know if that's a totally fair punchline to him, but we'll roll with it. That's something he has in common with the current acting commissioner, Lee Dudek, who has slashed staff and services at the direction of Elon Musk Doge. Though Bisignano wouldn't admit it, he has been intimately involved in creating the current chaos surrounding the Social Security Administration. Fortunately, a high-level civil servant has blown the whistle and set the record straight. Okay, so here's my take on it. Frank Bisignano sold people during that hearing that he wasn't part of what was really going on right now with the SSA. Because they're using Commissioner Dudek, essentially somebody they put in to become hated, as a chess piece so that Frank Bisignano, super CEO, the White Knight, can come in and take over and start to fix the things as they are. They've basically created the most hated Social Security commissioner in the history of the SSA, being Lee Dudek. Leland Dudek, he knows it. He even said with the articles that he was talking about, he's like, I get that I'm never going to have a job after this. I get that. I understand that. He even said that, So he understands what's going on. What's next? It's still unclear whether the Senate Finance Committee will vote on Bisignano's nomination. They're gonna. It's gonna happen. Now, here's what I think, about this total system collapse situation. Here's my reality. In order for us to assess a total system collapse, you have to have basically major things occur. Number one, you have to have benefit system, interruptions, benefit service interruptions. Those are services provided for the benefits you receive that get interrupted, right? In other words, when you try to make a phone call, it takes longer and longer and longer and longer to the point where it's just not worth calling the SSA unless you're like waking up, you hit the dial button and you're listening to that damn song for hours and hours. Another example of that is being able to use in office. Commissioner Martin O'Malley was the one who actually began the process of creating an appointment-only system. So he doesn't have a lot to lean back on that one because he kind of was the one who started that. So I just wanted to point out one thing because nobody else basically has been reporting essentially what's been going on for a benefit service that you guys should be aware of going forward. And there's no other channel that reported this. There's no other group that actually is talking about this. There's no legacy media group that's actually talking about this. As you know, every single day, I work with the Social Security website systems. Okay, I work with the general, main website. I work with the ERE backend website. I work with, all kinds of stuff to figure out essentially whether or not I can get a claimant approved for disability benefits, right? Sometimes I'm looking at listing level criteria and running over questions with how they're going to go ahead and phrase the responses to medical expert questions when they're in front of the MECE. Sometimes I'm in the ERE going to, basically look at the IRS records of an individual that's about to have a hearing and trying to figure out where the hell did those earnings come from, right? Okay, cool. Here's the thing. I have noticed that certain web pages that tend to make the SSA look bad, okay, that I've been reporting from. We're talking about the internal emergency messages page. Well, the internal emergency messages page on the SSA website, when you do a Google search, it now, when you click on that link, comes up with this, error 404. What do I mean by error 404? An error 404 is where the website, via the basic coding, cannot find that web page. Now, you can still get to it by Googling another thing and then clicking on another thing and going to the subdirectory to find it. Because, I know how to get around their website. But the bottom line is, if you wanted to access this on Google, guess what? Error 404, you're no longer going to get access to it. Next thing, I was clicking around onto the policy site, right? The POMS, where they basically put up a lot of the rules and regulations on policy and procedure, right? What you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do with your Social Security benefits, and what you're allowed to do when interacting with the SSA. Well, guess what also comes up on some of their pages? This site can't be reached. So some of their links no longer work on their policy pages. Now, you could be thinking this is intentional on behalf of the SSA because they don't want people to see certain particular items. However, this is my belief. I cannot say definitively that they are intentionally creating inoperable website features for your benefits. It is my belief that it is such a shit show at the SSA that right now they don't have enough tech people to fix the problems that come up. And the reason why is that the tech individuals that were interacting with DOGE or somehow, doing this or doing that have been restricted from fixing errors that pop up. Now, the SSA has two main systems. Internal systems, right? That includes the 23 AI systems. That includes your, basic ERE structures, your field office main, server system. And then you've got the external systems, right? You've got essentially your, classic website, that has your basic search stuff and, etc. The reality that I'm seeing is that the SSA is trying to create so-called transparency pages where you can access what they want to tell you. But some of the basic internals where you could actually get information, policy information, stuff like that is now off limits. You just cannot get to it. You cannot access it because it is 404. It is unable to be reached at that website. And that's what it is. It's just, this is what you get right here. I don't know if it's going to autofocus to it. Let's see if it does it. There you go. Site can't be reached, 404 error. So the bottom line is this. I don't believe right now that they are massively trying to subvert what you and I can get access to to explain the future system of Social Security benefits. But it does appear, because Commissioner Dudek released a transparency press upload where he's like, hey, we're going to create a link area where we're going to tell you what's going on. Hey, we're going to create a website thing over here where we update you on what's going on. It does look like, to some degree, because there's errors on the website where you can't access stuff, and because they're trying to create a transparency website. Now, let me tell you something that this is important. There was a tactic used. It wasn't used by Trump. It wasn't used by Biden. It was used for the first time in its full level of capacity, specifically by Obama. And it was a brilliant tactic that was completely un-American. The tactic was, instead of allowing news people to really access the president, they created the whitehouse.gov website and posted only the information that basically they wanted you to know, essentially, about what they were doing. And Obama would post things to whitehouse.gov, and then the news people could grab that media and report on it. Now, everybody hated this because it was a violation of their rights to get access to what the government was doing, because the government was being a little shit show and essentially not allowing people and the news media to access the on-the-moment, in-person actual reports. It appears that it looks like the new SSA model is going to be one where they upload what they want you to know, and they feed you what they want you to believe. And so that's what scares me a little bit about this model. If we continue to see more website errors, if we continue to see more interruptions to these benefit services, we're going to be in a really bad spot, because we are losing our ability to see transparency specifically about what the SSA is doing. And just to be very clear, this particular one is related to an emergency release document from an internal document where they covered with SSI what individuals were going to be basically gone after the most for auditing their benefits, okay? But then when you click on the link to look at specifically what each category represents from the codex that they give, site's offline, can't be retrieved, can't access it. So the problem we face is that either the SSA, to some degree, and I think this is true, is either being, they're unable to fix their technological problems, which they've always had a big problem with that. If you guys have had hearings, some of you have had a judge that couldn't log in that day, right? Some of you call them up, where's the document on this? Oh, we lost it. We can't find it. It's no longer there, yada, yada. Okay, technology problems happen. It's a mega industry, etc. But this is happening at the same time that they're releasing their whole transparency thing with their own version of the transparency website. So to me, it may actually be intentional to restrict your access to things on the SSA website. I wanted you to be aware of that. I wanted you to be fully on board with that. Now, with that said, okay, I hope you guys understand that the SSA is going to be going through massive changes, because when Frank Bisignano gets in, he's going to go ahead and put new operating systems in, and there's going to be some benefit interruptions that occur as a result of that. I believe it will take the next 3 to 4 months to go through the rocky parts of this whole situation. Will Trump be successful with reshaping the Social Security Administration? Maybe. Nobody knows. Republicans hope so. Democrats hope he will fail. The independents, we just hope it'll work out to be usable in the future. That's the reality. All right. With that said, please remember to like and subscribe. Hit that like button. There's 273 likes. Let's hit that like button, everybody. Also, head over to Google, type in Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. If you want to, you can leave some stars. Throw some stars up there. I love waking up to some happy stars. With that said, please remember, on Mondays and Thursdays, I go live. Again, Mondays and Thursdays, I go live to essentially go ahead and answer questions from the YouTube or the general online community. Also, if you need me to figure something out for you, or there's a really tricky thing, private session contract is below. It's a 1-hour contract where basically I take my lunch hour and I walk you through what you need to do to fix your situation. I will catch you at the next video shortly. I'll be there in about 10 to 15 minutes, and we will rock and roll from there. Attorney Walter Hnot, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.